A very good morning, Team Zimbabwe. Welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. This morning, we need to reflect on the Sadc guidelines and principles uh, which uh, should be followed by each and every country in terms of conducting democratic elections. So it's very important for us to do so because this would dismiss some issues raised by Varakashi as well as give a clear insight of what must happen. So SADC member states shall adhere to the following principles in the conduct of democratic elections. Number one, every SADC country should allow full participation of the citizens in the political process. If you take a look on what happened, Sevia Kasukwele is a citizen. He was not allowed to participate in the political process, and that was done unconstitutionally. Secondly, there are several people who were disenfranchised because of delimitation. They were in particular areas, but delimitation happened. They were changed polling stations, no notice was given, and they went to their previous polling station anticipating to vote, but they failed to vote because their names were moved to elsewhere. There are issues where the people from most urban areas wanted to vote, but voting material was not available by the time they arrived there. Just imagine arriving at 6 a.m. and voting material comes at 11 p.m. or 9 p.m. That is just a sign that the participation of citizens in the political process was not what was expected or cannot pass the test. Then we have an issue of freedom of association. Freedom of association entails me that I must join a political party of my choice. But if you take a look on what was happening in most parts of Zimbabwe, especially in the rural areas, myself, I experienced it. FARS would come, would tell you to stop doing activities of Triple C or face the consequences. That was against freedom of association because every Zimbabwean must associate with a political party of his or her choice. That is according to the Constitution. That is according to the Electoral Act. But that freedom was crushed. It was crushed. That is the reason why you see there was command voting. People were saying, atigoni kunyora, atigoni kunyora, atigoni kunyora, is because they were suspected to be associated with a particular party and they were attacked. They were visited. They were told point blank that if you vote for so and so, we are going to deal with you, number one. Number two, they were told if you vote for the opposition, war is coming back. That was the message from Team FAS. So any reasonable person would understand that the freedom of association was attacked. Then the issue of political tolerance. Is there political tolerance or was there political tolerance? No. Tinashe Chitsunge died in Harare because of political intolerance. He was simply going for a meeting, a political meeting. He was simply putting up posters. But what happened? He died because he believed in Triple C. Political intolerance has been there, but no action has been taken by the authorities to make sure that they end political intolerance. Then there's an issue of regular intervals for elections as provided for by the respective national constitutions. Yes, the election was done regularly, but was it conducted as an election? No. So what it means is the people of Zimbabwe have been deprived an opportunity to hold regular elections because this was not an election. It was a commandeering activity. which was meant to protect ZANU-PF interests, which was meant to protect certain individuals and make them be in power forever and forevermore. So it can't be called an election, which means this was also violated. Was there equal opportunity for all political parties to access the state media? I doubt. Reason being, ukaenda pa radio, you would go on radio, you hear about ZANU-PF. You go on TV, you hear about ZANU-PF. No opposition activity there. Moreover, the state media was biased towards ZANU-PF. Every time they would speak about Nelson Chamisa, they would be speaking anything negative about him. Every time they would play music, it was about ZANU-PF. But we heard music about the opposition which was never played. So it's something. There's equal opportunity to exercise the right to vote and be voted for. As I mentioned earlier, Sadc Sukwe was denied that opportunity to be voted for. Several councillors of Triple C were denied that opportunity to be voted for because of skewed delimitation processes, because of some issues of intimidation in other areas, especially in Masai Central, where they were told point blank, if you participate, we are going to deal with you. Then the issue of exercising your right to vote. You only have a right to vote when it is recognized. But our rights to vote were not recognized because people were told who to vote for. They didn't vote for whoever they wanted. They were told who to vote for. And they were given a list of consequences. Tichakutoreminda, tichakurovai, tichakudzingai, who will do all sorts of things against you if you vote for a particular candidate or for a particular party. That was also noted in the Sadc Observer Mission Report. Was the judiciary independent? Was the judiciary impartial? I doubt. Was the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission impartial? Was the police impartial? I doubt. More than 100 CCC rallies were stopped by the police without clear explanation. But ZANU-PF was doing its rallies everywhere. That is a sign of impartiality. Zimbabwe Electoral Commission was acting as an extension of ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is actually speaking on behalf of Sadc. The commissioners at Sadc are children of top ZANU-PF officials. How can it be impartial? How can Kembo Muhadi's daughter work against her own father? How can Shava's son work against his own father? These are the issues. What about the independence of the judiciary? So many cases were brought before the courts. For an example, I will tell you about the Bintura court case where Triple C wanted to launch their own rally. It was brought before the court after the police had banned the rally. The courts upheld the police ban. If you take a look on the laws which were being used, they are unreasonable. That showed impartiality. Take a look on the issues of voters' rolls. Several times, Zimbabwe Electoral Commission was taken to court because of the voters' rolls. What happened? They lost each and every case. The opposition lost each and every case. Take a look on various issues. The Bulawayo 12, the High Court actually removed the Bulawayo 12 from the ballot. only for the Supreme Court under pressure to readmit them. That shows judiciary that it was not independent. Voter education. Voter education was thwarted in most cases because it was reflecting how the election should happen and was going against the interests of FARS. Was there enough voter education? No. You will see that these are the real issues which need to be addressed for the people of Zimbabwe to have a free, fair, credible, and disputed elections. Item number 9, it says acceptance and respect of the election results by political parties proclaimed to have been free and fair by the competent national electoral authorities in accordance with the law of the land. Okay, election results should only be accepted when the elections are free and fair, and when the National Electoral Authority is competent. In this case, number one, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is not competent because they violated the laws. Each and every law, they were bending laws to accommodate Zanu PF. From the delimitation exercise, the nomination fees, everything, it would show that this organization is incompetent. Was this election free? No, it wasn't free. Because it wasn't about the person who is loved. It was about who the leaders love, who those who are powerful love, not about who we love. Was it fair? Political party funding was given to Douglas Monzora. Triple C was denied that chance despite having MPs in parliament. There was no fair coverage on the state media. There was intimidation. Rallies were being banned. There's all sorts of irregularities which happened, which put this election in doubt. Then, lastly, challenge of the election results is provided for in the law of the land. There are two options. Option number one, you go to the Constitutional Court. But if you can prove that the judiciary is not independent, the electoral body is not partial, and the security organs have failed to deal with the two problems. What it means is you have to seek recourse elsewhere according to these guidelines and principles. That is the reason why you have seen the Citizens Coalition for Change is seeking recourse from the region. If this wasn't working, ZANU-PF would not work to bring laws, the Patriotic Act. The Patriotic Act was brought in particular to stop the opposition from engaging with the international community after the ballot coup. And if you take a look on ZANU-PF propagandists, they are agitating for the arrest of several Triple C leaders using the Patriotic Act. Exactly the reason why they designed it. Exactly the reason why they spearheaded it before the elections. So the question is ZANU-PF going to survive? We live to see if ZANU-PF is going to survive. But at this juncture, they are facing hard times from Sadc. Because remember, President Hakainde Hichilema was in Angola a few days ago. Sadc can call an extraordinary summit anytime. If you hear about the extraordinary summit being called, then know that the end of ZANU-PF is nigh.